Madhuri ma'am, can you hear me? Participants, am I audible? Okay, thank you, Shilpa ma'am, for that.
Am I audible?
Yes, ma'am, you are. Can you hear us, Madhuri ma'am?
Yes, I can hear you.
Oh,
Just check, I'm sharing the screen. I can't share the screen.
no, I am sharing the screen. Maybe I have to turn it
No,
off.
I
Then you can.
think I sent you another document. Did you see? Not the first
I
one.
saw. No, I'm sharing your banners because it's YouTube live. We have created a banner, so I have put that. Once I stop sharing that, you will be able to share your PPT.
Oh, okay. Um, the PPT that I shared with you,
Hmm.
don't share that. I'm sending you the new one.
Okay, shall I share the screen then for you? Your PPT,
Yeah,
shall I share? Ah,
give me the access.
I've given you the access, ma'am.
Okay.
Actually, our earlier session got over around 5 minutes ago. So we asked the participants to join again by 6 o'clock.
Okay, no
So
problem.
we are.
Should we wait for a minute or should we start?
Maybe around for
You
another
let
two,
me
three
know when
minutes.
I'm supposed to start, then we can start.
Yes, ma'am. I'll let you know. 2 to 3 minutes. We'll just wait. Once another few participants join, we'll start. Okay. Maybe 2 minutes we'll wait.
I shared the PPT. Is it visible?
Yes, ma'am, it is visible.
I have also sent you. Just check whether you received or not.
Yes, ma'am, I've received it.
Right. Done.
Okay. Ma'am, we'll start. I'll just give a small intro about you.
Yeah.
Good evening, all. Yes, ma'am. On behalf of Department of Language, Culture and Society, College of Engineering and Technology, SRM ISC Katankalapur campus, and Department of Linguistics, Tetso College, Sovemia, Dimapur, Nagaland. We welcome you all for the 6-day online faculty development program on Narratives of Change, Reimagining English Language and Literature as a Mirror of Cultural and Intellectual Transformation, NEP 2020 and Viksit Bharat 2047. This is our last session, session 12, titled Viksit Bharat 2047, Creative and Critical Thinking for Higher Order Learning. We have with us Dr. Venu Madhavi, who is the Associate Professor and works for English and Foreign Languages University, IFLU, Hyderabad. She is a professor in the Departments of Materials, Development, Testing, and Evaluation at IFLU. Her areas of specialization include teaching materials, curriculum development, and technology-enhanced language teaching. She presents research papers at national and international conferences and seminars. She worked on several sponsored research projects with International Corpus Network of Asian Learners of English, UGC, and LTITs, and has published research articles in various national and international journals and leading newspapers. She is actively involved in organizing many national and international conferences, workshops, and FDPs. Ma'am, the platform is all yours.
Thank you so much, Ramya, for that introduction. I hope I'm audible to all the audience, all the participants here.
Yes, ma'am, you are.
Okay. So my topic is about Viksit Bharat 2047, creative and critical thinking for higher order thinking. These words look very synonymous because these days we have been talking a lot about Viksit Bharat, talking about critical thinking, higher order thinking, and so on. Why? What is the reason? Wasn't creative and critical thinking not there before? Probably, I think we need to rethink about this because you know how India's rich linguistic and literary heritage is, and how it could be integrated with modern educational framework. Because this is the need of the hour to cultivate higher order thinking. When we look at into our curriculum, our syllabus patterns, the kind of discussions, collaborations, and debates that happen in a classroom environment, and the kind of freedom that is nurtured to the learner, is it adequate, or are we supposed to rethink to align with our NEP 2020 policy and Viksit Bharat's theme, that is by 2047 we need to turn ourselves into a self-reliant country. Now, just to brief about what Viksit Bharat is, our country has come up with some of the major transformation, I would say, pointers. One is economic transformation, where our country targets almost $30 trillion economy by 2047. And when it comes to the foundational pillars of any country, that is, one is youth, that is yuva, the other is poor. You know, India is still a developing nation, and when we talk about self-reliant, India envisions to become a developed nation, so it also tries to work on garib, that is the poor, where there is economic stability, economic equality or mobility. And the third pointer is about women, where Mahilaye are given equal rights and opportunities so that we do talk about gender equality issues. And the fourth one is the farmer, who is called the Annadata of our country, These form the four pillars. So, if we concentrate on these areas, then we can envision Vikasit Bharat. So, when we take economy, when we take these four pillars together, we can become a global leader in technology. We can become a global leader in sustainable development. And it is not just that we are trying to modernize ourselves, we are trying to our focus is on being on par with all the developed nations. At the same time, the policy or Viksit Bharat talks about saving our rich cultural heritage. We are not going to compromise on our culture, on our tradition, and on our heritage. So this is, I would say, a brief about what our country envisions. Now, how come Vikasit Bharat and the four pillars are integrated with creative and critical thinking? Now, see, when we talk about creative and critical thinking, when you look at the syllabus revisions, the curriculum discussions, there are many universities that are coming up with integrating critical thinking courses or creative thinking courses, which could be something on analytical reasoning, which could be something on analytical writing or argumentative writing. When I'm talking about linguistic terms, okay, so we many universities are trying to bring in all these, especially the higher education institutions, so that the thinking process of the individual, the thinking process of the learner changes. This is something which is a crucial point for us right now. But let me say that in another few years, this becomes a fundamental competency. Like critical and creative thinking become the survival components for success, because our society, our knowledge society, is changing from the the traditional approach is to something that also requires technical knowledge, something that requires the ability to innovate, something where you have the assessment patterns that includes analysis, that includes application levels, that includes the creative levels, because now we have to keep ourselves adapt to rapid changes. So, I mean, if I'm not wrong, we when we're talking about innovation, we are talking about artificial intelligence. Everybody is talking about AI. Everybody is talking about whether AI is good or bad. There are a lot of issues, a lot of challenges, a lot of discussions that are going to happen. But just let us imagine, when we think about artificial intelligence, this is not something at a cognitive, something at a low cognition. Am I right or wrong? This is something which is about higher order thinking, where a human brain is equally competent, or the human brain is making artificial intelligence, which could be equally competent to make us prepare for technical domains, so that we can inculcate this creative problem solving and adaptability skills. So, when I say higher order thinking skills, it means that it is not that you ask questions, but are we in a position to ask the right questions to the right problems? If there is a questioning that is right, that is appropriate, then the challenges and the assumptions that interwoven towards those challenges can be synthesized, can be understood, and we can easily understand or try to get the information that is relevant to us. Okay, that means what we are trying to adapt to situations and resolve challenges, and come up with some novel solutions. How many of you have heard the concept called Viksit Bharat Sankalp? What do you mean by that? If I'm not wrong, most of the faculty members are very active participants. They are young and energetic, if I'm not wrong, right? So we are the part of this nation building. Whether you are a faculty, whether you are a teacher or a researcher or a learner, whatsoever, we all have different roles to play, right? So Bharat believes in this Viksit Bharat Sankalp, which means that this is a kind of a campaign which mobilizes youth. Now, we should be very lucky enough that we are in the teaching field and the young energy is with us, and we have the opportunity to mold them in the way that we want, because they are at that transparent stage, or an age where the learner can identify, or the learner can integrate himself or herself with the changing modalities, so that he could become a part of a nation building. Now, nation building here refers to the positive aspects of building the economy, working with the industrialization sectors, working with the development and the progress of the country. So when you think about critical and creative thinking, just question yourself, or let us question ourselves: are we integrating innovation or innovative skills in the kind of discussions that we have with the learners, or with our co teachers, with our colleagues, or with anybody, the stakeholders in the educational system? Then, if we are innovative, then, how are we working on problem solving techniques? Are we spending enough time? Are we giving enough space to resolve the issues? Or are we just keeping these problems aside and just going forward without solving them? Because the education system has been preoccupied with lots of challenges with the changing trends. But how are we addressing those challenges? It is not that you as a teacher or you as a researcher come up with some theoretical assumptions, but then you also should bring in some practical associations or practical thinking, so that we address the cause. We don't read the cause, we address the cause. And so we become adaptable, because I'm sure how things are happening in other states, especially the things that are happening in the US. India is one of the countries where there is a lot of migration that is happening, and the youth is going over there, right? The kind of decisions that are being taken by the political parties whatsoever, it can impact our employability, it can impact our youth. So in which way are we capable enough to build the nation? All these things should start from the early stages. It is not that at an undergraduate level or at a postgraduate level we come up with these kinds of aspects, like you make the learner analyze. I'm sure most of you are aware of revised Bloom's taxonomy, where we actually address the learners from L1 to L2, L3, L4, L5, and right now the revised Bloom's taxonomy talks about creative thinking, right? So in the kind of the questions, in the kind of the assessments that we are making, so are we putting the learner at the knowledge level, that is L1, or are we putting the learner at a comprehension level? So what kind of teaching that is happening in the classroom? Is it knowledge and comprehension level? So, looking at the curriculum, looking at the revised curriculums, is there a focus on the third stage, that is application level, and the fourth stage, analysis level, and the fifth is evaluate? So, is the learner capable enough to evaluate so that he can develop problem solving? How is your teaching pedagogy? Does it involve all these? As if the learner is able to evaluate either linguistically or literally or creatively or critically, then there is the scope of developing creative thinking. Creative thinking can happen not just probably in my talk, I'm also bringing in linguistic and literary aspects that have molded our society, which have greatly impacted the way an individual thinks. So this is very important in nation building. Are you all with me?
Yes, ma'am.
Yeah. Now, let me bring in two aspects. How does language impact, or how does language bridge the knowledge between innovation, between the transformation in the society? This is one aspect. The other aspect is how does literature bridge this kind of knowledge and innovative aspects? Now, recently, if we have seen the kind of innovations that are happening with artificial intelligence, I'm just quoting something that is happening in STEM programs. This is not from humanities background, but when I take STEM, we know that there is a lot of linguistic modernization that is happening. That when people are devising mechanisms to develop repositories for technical vocabularies and what kind of educational resources are being developed. If I'm not wrong, when I was a student, I had only the textbook. There was nothing else, right? But right now, we have multiple channels to showcase our knowledge and improve higher order thinking and use multimodal elements so that this bridges the gap between what is happening in our country and other educational sectors. If I'm not wrong, maybe some of you might have read about the National Translation Mission programs and also the Bharatavani program, which is creating digital repositories and learning materials across Indian languages. So, when I'm talking about higher order thinking, I am confining myself to linguistic and literary aspects, okay? Because there are different other aspects, there are different other domains, other specializations that are parallelly growing, that are parallelly progressing, and lot of research is happening in those domains. Okay, so one example is I'm just taking the language component here. The other one is when these days, I think recently, we have come across a lot of IKS, right? Indian knowledge system, where India is trying to preserve the ancient, the classical languages, the knowledge, the kind of subject that was there. It was trying to accumulate all that. So right now, if I take the example of Central Sanskrit University and International Institute of Tamil Studies to quote, they are really working on classical languages like Sanskrit, Kannada, Malayalam, etc., where it is not just preserving languages, they are also trying to work on Ayurveda, mathematics, astronomy, philosophy, environmental science, whatnot, so that such knowledge is decoded and is preserved. So, this is one of the examples of the traditional approach to contemporary approach. Now, when we talk about innovation, when we talk about critical and creative thinking, what do you think of the research that is happening about our cognitive abilities, about our cognitive benefits? Research also proves that these kind of integrated approaches will help the learners to demonstrate problem solving abilities and creative thinking. Especially the National Institute of Mental Health and Neurosciences from Bangalore and University of Hyderabad have been working on the cognitive abilities to bridge the gap between the knowledge that we have and the kind of innovation that is taking place. Okay, let me move forward. I hope you are following me. One example when I'm talking about linguistic changes, one example that I quote here is about gender sensitization. There are parallelly number of courses that have been introduced recently about gender sensitization because youth, irrespective of gender, youth is important because either it's a girl or a boy, whosoever it is, they form an integral part of developing our economy, integral part of making our country a proud nation. So, one change, if I take from the language component, gender neutral pronouns. For example, previously when I was a student, if a student is a neuter gender, right? You don't know whether he or she. So the sentence would be like this: every student must complete his work. Automatically, it was made masculine. but in the modern inclusive form, because we're talking about critical and creative aspect, even these simple nuances are very important to address the participants, to address the audience, where we now don't say it as his work, we say it as his or her work or their work. This is called gender sensitization. Just to show you one example, I'm giving you this. In linguistic terms, in the same way, we have different kinds of approaches, different kinds of transformations happening in different domains. Likewise, if I talk about gender neutral alternatives, the chairman will preside. These words were just like there in the dictionary, the chairman, right? Man has become a part, an active part. But right now, we started using it as the Chaya will preside, the presiding officer will preside in that way. And another example that I would like to give you is about modern pedagogy. How is it being incorporated? Right now, we don't just say gentlemen, we say ladies and gentlemen, right? And these kinds of parallel treatments are important, not just in language studies, but also in any kind of a platform, whether it is a case study, whether it is an illustration. For you, this seems to be very simple, maybe very easy, but these kinds of nuances are very important to make the society realize that everybody is equally competent, everybody is equally contributing to nation's development. So these kinds of transformations are being brought up in terms of the literature that we study. Either that could be your textbook, that could be a novel, that could be a poem, or anything, any material that is academically prominent to make us actually step forward to Viksit Bharat. Now, from linguistic to gender sensitization is one of the examples. I would like you to work on the kind of literature that is actually shaping our thought process, our identity, and how the literature is a social mirror to know what is happening in the society and how it is being reflected in the writings. Now, how many of you have? I'm sure most everybody or most of you might know about people like Tagore, Rabindranath Tagore, R.K. Narayan, Arundhati Roy. All these Indian writers have really crafted their narratives in such a wonderful manner that it their writings have made us identify our tradition, our culture, at the same time inculcate with modernity. So, right, just I want to all go back to what happened or how the writings were in 1940s, from 1950s to 60s, and right now 2025. There is a lot of change, right? At the same time, it's not just these writings that are happening in English domain, English language domain, but then it is you also take regional literatures like any literature, whether it is Hindi, whether it is Marathi or Telugu or Tamil, whatsoever, writers like Premchand, or I am just taking one or two names over here who have really shaped our social ethos. So these kinds of transformations are happening from years together, so that right now our thinking process has changed, our thinking process has been changing, I would say, to represent the present contemporary society. In the same way, when I talk about post-colonial narratives like Salman Rushdie, Vikram Seth, they have actually try to bring in what Indian culture is. They have actually tried to show the world what India thinks about. Even authors like Anita Desai, they have represented the psychological and cultural complexities of the modern India. So the changes that have been happening in the society have been brought up through language, have been brought up through literature, through fine arts, through different media, so that these kind of experiences are bringing in a kind of a change in the way we think, so that our thinking capacity doesn't end with just comprehension level or an understanding level, but we develop the concept of critiquing. This is called a catalyst. This is called a social mirror when you try to critique something and when you try to question something. So, when I talk about higher order thinking, how many of us as students had the liberty to critique, had the liberty to question the authorities, or to question the teacher, or to question the society, right? So let us think what happened maybe 20 years back or 30 years back. Right now, how the youth is transforming, so that there is a kind of a reciprocal understanding or reciprocal awareness, so that this the kind of dominance that might take place is actually addressed in order to foster critical thinking across different social divides. Okay, I hope some of you might have read Aravinda Adiga's um, questioning about inequality, and if I'm not wrong, Chetan Bhagat's writings, who actually talks about middle class melodies, middle class life in a very simple manner. In the same way, there are different other writers who have been trying to bring in the ecosystem in a balanced manner, so that India's presence is globally represented, and our awareness towards these critical approaches are appreciated by the world. Let me go forward. Recently, Booker Prizes were announced. From India, Bhanu Mustaq has won this award. Now, the author wrote the book called Heart Lamp. This is a collection of 12 short stories which talks about the Muslim communities in southern India, which spanning between 1990 and 2023. For the writings, for the stories that happened. See, whatever the books or the authors write, they represent the society, right? And the society, the reflection of the society means the reflection of the nation. It is like from individual to society, from society to the nation. So these writings have made us rethink, made us reshape our country's dimensions, our country's thinking, processing, perspectives, so that we are also on par with divergent thinking, and we are building some strategic associations, so that we become part of this Viksit Bharat's campaign. To quote, I would try to take this NEP 2020 curriculum, which talks about diverse literary uh, courses, not just literary courses. In fact, NEP 2020 talks about multidisciplinary approach. When I was a student, I was just given a solid 6 subjects, and it's every subject is for 100 marks, and then you complete whether I like Hindi, whether I don't like physics, whether I like biology, I don't like zoology, whatsoever, but I had to do because it is fixed curriculum, and then I was awarded. Sometimes after 5 years or so, I used to feel, why did I study zoology? It's not important for me. Probably physics is my subject or English is my subject. But right now, NEP 2020 has given the freedom to the learner to work on entry and exit options, so that the learner is given the opportunity to do courses which are of his or her diverse thinking or diverse needs or interests. And it is not just that the learner is stuck only at one place. In fact, the curriculum here has given liberty to listen to the lectures of different other eminent research scholars or professors or academicians or educator, whosoever is offering a course, and so that the learner can go and do a course or do one semester, come back. So this is called entry exit options. And the curriculum is not even confining to only particular course, since it is multidisciplinary. Even though I belong to studying English as my specialization or a domain, I can do something in fine arts. or I can do something in economy, something which is of my interest, something which helps me to progress in my academic journey, so that it also helps me for my employability skills. So this is one. And the kind of digital tools that are available these days are, I would say, every day there is something that is popping up and saying that there is this tool which will help you in doing this and this and this. If I take language into consideration, every day I come up with lots of apps that tell us that no, you can work on this app to integrate listening or speaking or reading or writing. Likewise, even government is also associating the development of digital tools, the development of AI, with the progress of the nation. Uh, NAP 2020 has dedicated almost, it talks about the technology integration, not from higher level of education, but right from the schooling, where uh, a student needs to be equipped with minimum fundamental computer literacy courses. So, how many of you have heard about PME Vidya project? How many of you heard about Digital Library of India? Now India is trying to create repository, digital repository of many things. I'm sure if we think about Shodh Ganga, all the PhD research dissertations or theses are being uploaded to Shodh Ganga, so that we have this Creative Commons, or we have this open platform, open access platform, and everybody can access your research, everybody can comment on your research. I don't say comment, but at least you have the access. Otherwise, in my days, it was like if I want to do some research, I need to travel, I need to go somewhere for, take permissions, whatnot, and then travel for long days and then complete the research. But right now you have this digital repository where you just one click, and then you have the liberty, you have the access to go through the wonderful research that is happening. So this is called digitalization of the e-content of the resources for the academic progress. Now, there are many institutions that are doing, just to quote, because of the time that we have, that there are institutions like central universities like JNU, and who are doing a lot of research on critical thinking. In fact, there are many universities like the English and Foreign Languages University, which have been offering different pedagogies, which have been working on different courses that work on critical and creative thinking. And also, the courses alignment are at higher order level thinking. In the same way, TIS is also working on a lot of educational changes in terms of bringing in new courses. At the same time, the SWAYAM platform, how government is encouraging the students to work on SWAYAM platform and complete courses where, if I'm not wrong, you are aware of the credit-based system. If you do a course in SWAYAM, those credits are carry forwarded to your academic credentials and they are awarded. So while working on SWAYAM courses, all these digital repositories are developed or designed by the combination, with the collaboration of IITs, with the collaboration of NCRT, IGNO, or different eminent central universities, private organizations, and so on, right? Even top private universities like Ashoka University has started courses on critical thinking and something that relates with analytical reasoning. If we talk about intensive reading, if we talk about academic writing aspects, we can bring in lot of analytical approaches to improve the critical and creative aspects of a learner. Um, are you all with me?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, because I'm only talking. I hope everybody's listening. Or okay, now let me move forward. Do you think that this is very easy to implement Viksit Bharat, or is it very easy to implement NEP 2020, because it talks about a lot of new things? Anything where there is a revolution or where there is a change, where there is a transformation, there may be reluctance, or there will be definitely some challenges, but we know that innovation and opportunities are have these kinds of challenges, have these kinds of problems, but we need to accept those. We need to try to bring in how we can inculcate technology and human balance. Technology is nothing but it is the human's brain, right? Where we use our knowledge and put it to a machine, but then machine should not take it overloaded, or or the society should not believe that now the machine is taking over the human brain. No, it's not like that, but we need to have a balance. And yes, I do agree that there is a lot of workforce transformation that is happening, because the shift, the pedagogical shift from, I would say, traditional approach to contemporary approaches is a bit challenging, because we need to, we as teachers or we as researchers need to understand this transformation and try to change our own modalities, because equipping us with some kind of technical knowledge. Are there any messages? Because yeah, yeah, you can post the message so that, yeah, I'm sure that there is a lot of resilience. There are a lot of other issues that that are embedded with our education sector. So we have to accept. We have to work on bringing in these changes, whether it is a political, whether it is an economical change. I mean, when there is an opportunity, there is a challenge, and if challenges are accepted, are attended, these opportunities are turned into success stories. So we believe in success stories. So let us build success stories. Now, if I say India's future is dependent on the kind of leadership that we aim for, right? We are all citizens of our country, and every individual is capable of having an innovative idea. But the thing is, are we channelizing these ideas into actions? Are we bringing, everybody has idea, right? That's what Abdul Kalam says. You have to dream. It's not just you dream, but you dream high. And it is not that you dream high and just leave it over there, but then are you progressing, or are you taking any steps to see that progress happens and you make your dreams come true? So this is called Viksit Bharat's, I would say, it terms it as Atma Nirbhar Bharat, right? So the universities are being offered different courses on this, where it is trying to work on the kind of strategies, the strengths that a teacher has, not just the teacher, anybody working in the institution or any other sector, so that we do our SWOT analysis. That is, SWOT refers to strength and your weaknesses, opportunities, and challenges, so that when that is identified, we can work on building or bringing in together the innovative concepts. And innovation happens through questions, not just questions, but through right questions. And it is not that we work in isolation, we have to collaborate. These three words are very important to build in higher order thinking. Are you innovative? If you want to become innovative, we should be smart enough to question right questions, and then we collaborate with others, not that we are isolated, and then the whole world is now collaborating and different projects and different discussions, and just go and follow some communities. Now social media is there, Look at the social media platforms, how they encourage in building positive environment. See, everything has both pros and cons, but let us use something which is good for us, which is helping us to develop our progress. So this is about your critical and creative thinking. I would say if your university is offering something on creative thinking or critical thinking, argumentative writing, or something on intensive reading, any course that is related to these aspects, try to work on those and channelize yourself from application level to analysis level to you should be in a position to evaluate. If I'm not wrong, every year 7.5 lakh students from India migrate to the US to do further studies. This is through TOEFL examinations or IELTS examinations, and these are the prerequisite examinations. So, such examinations, I'm just giving you one example. Such examinations have this argumentative writing as one of the components, where they assess your ability, they assess your understanding, how you can argue, how you can bring in your claims into something facts through evidences, through solid evidences, through solid reasoning, and providing with suitable reasons, examples, and so on. So, higher education institutions are looking forward to building our nation as a developed nation by 2047. And for that, whatever the kind of changes that are supposed to bring in terms of your curriculum, in terms of your syllabus changes, try to inculcate, try to follow that. You become a part of it. You also bring in your own innovative approach so that we all build our nation together. If you have any questions, please.
Participants, questions?
No questions means either you understood completely or you did not follow anything.
We assume there are no questions.
There is
Okay.
one message that says the assessment pattern should allow for expansion of responses from the learners when we have to make students to think, apply, and create, ma'am. Yes, I totally agree with you. If I'm not wrong, there are some universities that are giving freedom to the to the teacher. Even there are universities, I would say, that they don't even follow a textbook, but it is the teacher's autonomy which decides what type of questions that should be asked. That is one. The other one is many universities are coming up with question banks, and question banks are not just prepared like you have a multiple choice question, something like that. You have short answers, and again the difficulty level has been increased. Like if I say, if you are preparing for your semester examinations, which would normally be for 60 marks, they ask you to give 20 marks, which are completely easy questions, 20 moderate level, and 20 difficult level questions. In that way, yes, the assessment pattern could be changed so that we work on their creativity. If not, I would say that we should thank the technology, because right now it is not just we meet the learner in the classroom, but we have avenues to meet them even outside the classroom. I'm sure most of you still use Google Classroom even after post-COVID period. I would suggest that we use Google Classroom even we are back to traditional approach, so that we are connected with the learners, something that we cannot do within the classroom, because we are all I totally agree that we have only 50 minutes time, and then we are busy with our syllabus completion and all that. But in spite of that, we have now the avenues to meet the learner outside the classroom. I think most of you are also maintaining WhatsApp communities or groups where you have one group on your class and leave some materials to them. And while you are giving the material, just see that the material is not just at thinking level, but it is also at application and creative level. We need to take some extra, I would say time, some interest, so that we bring in these kind of progressive environments. If I'm not wrong, there are different resources uh, which address the learner at different levels. See, in a classroom, what happens is we only focus on the average student. What about a slow learner? What about a fast learner? So technology can address this. Identify some apps like British Council. If you go there, it actually grades the material. You're talking about assessment pattern, right? It grades the material as per their levels: A1, A2, B1, B2, and C1, C2. Choose the material and go and give that material to that suitable candidate. You also check lesson writer, one of the resources that is there, AI, one of the ICT tools, which again you create your own classrooms and then you give the materials according to the levels of the learners. Slowly the progression will take place. I hope I could understand. I could answer you.
Any
Uh,
questions? Vidya,
okay.
hope yours was answered.
Mm.
Yes, ma'am. Yes,
Uh, am I audible?
Yes.
yes.
Ma'am, I was wondering how creative writing uh, can preserve and promote like local languages, folklore, and indigenous knowledges, while also fostering, critical thinking.
Yeah, I mean, I would like to give a recent example. Recently, the English and this is LTI, English Language Teachers Association of India,
Mm,
has organized one international conference.
mm,
So I was one of the paper presenters. In the same room, there is one teacher. She is teaching tribal students. And
mm,
the tribal students, you know, that even the minimum requirements are something which are questioned, classroom infrastructure and so on. But I appreciated the ma'am's approach because she brought in some AI tools and then she took Panchatantra. You know, Panchatantra is one of India's inbuilt stories that talk about our cultural heritage, harmony, and it also talks about the critical approach, right? How you resolve the solutions, how you show empathy, right? How
mm,
you
mm,
work on your innovation in order to adapt to problems, all that, and that too, this is to a tribal student in a tribal classroom.
mm.
She got in multimodal approach, and the question she asked, what would you do if you are in such a particular situation now? Is it sympathy that you're going to show, or is it empathy that you are going to work on and resolve the challenge? So that is one classroom task. It is not the questions are not like, okay, who is the father of this character, or what is the storyline? So the questioning pattern has made the learner think. These are all school-going children
Mm.
studying fifth standard. These are in between fifth and ninth standard, right? So now, do you think Panchatantra does reflect in our society? Because these were written long, long ago, right? So she tried to bring in the traditional approaches to modern pedagogy and created a creative classroom environment.
Yes, ma'am. Thank you, ma'am. Participants, if you have any questions, you can leave it in the chat box as well.
If I think in different courses, we do have projects, right? This is not something which is in the classroom environment. This is like you do it out of the box, you go, you study the problem, and then you come up with. Basically, this happens in STEM programs. I would say that it should also bring brought into humanities and social sciences. I think now
Mm,
environmental studies is one of the subjects, one of the courses, and there is a project also where students are made to address
mm,
uh, that talks about your environment, talks about healthcare, all these
mm,
sustainable development goals, right?
mm,
So where the learner goes there,
mm,
and like for example, you make the learner, the whole class go to a slum area, and
mm.
he should collect the information, and now he has to support his idea and submit a report, submit an essay. That is all critical, that is all creative.
Yes.
It is both.
Yes, ma'am. I was actually wondering how creative writings can be, integrated with science, with technology, with history and social studies in order to, promote cross-disciplinary thinking.
Yeah, one project where I would say about history. So the
Mm,
teacher has taken one historical figure, okay, let us say Mandela, Nelson
mm,
Mandela. She just gave the word and she asked the learners, now I'm giving you 2 days' time. In the same way, you study the figure, the historical figure, and try to bring in the comparative analysis of other historical figures or personalities. Whether the personality can belong to 15th century or 16th or 17th or whichever century it is, right? Now, you don't believe she was explaining that the students have really come up with the historical figures. They may be national leaders, they may be freedom fighters, whosoever, which the teacher did not even teach them. This is happening out of the class. They came up with nice images, they came up with what they did, they expanded on it. And this is not at, undergraduate level, this is not at postgraduate level. I would rather say that everything depends on a teacher, the way a teacher motivates. And then they came up, she didn't teach him or her about Abraham Lincoln, but they came up with Abraham Lincoln's ideologies. I think you're mute.
There's one question in the chat box.
Ma'am, very insightful session. I have a question. I want to wonder. Okay, methodology to the tertiary level learners. See, at the tertiary level, we should be happy that we have the freedom to choose courses, right? Not that there is a fixed curriculum. And the courses are open. And again, I appreciate NEP 2020 document because this kind of methodology that you're talking, the tertiary level learner need not study in our camp. If I'm taking my university as an example, can go to TIS, it can, I'm sorry, it is not TIS, maybe any other university, do the course and come back. And specific needs, again, it depends on the stakeholders of that university who look at the requirements of the learners and design courses. Every year, we float different courses depending on the needs of the learners. If I'm talking about academic writing, this is not for everybody, right? If I'm talking about intensive reading, this is even there is a course called creative writing, a course called critical thinking. Need not be necessary for everybody, but what I'm trying to suggest is take such courses that inculcate not just one way of thinking, but you emphasize on critical approaches because these develop your reasoning ability. If you look at let me give you this example. When you're quoting your multimodal, how many of you go through this TED lessons, not TED talks? TED Talk is an open educational resource, right? It doesn't come under copyright infringement. Actually, we have the liberty to use such resources in the classroom environment, not for commercial purposes. The same way, as a teacher, you can just explore TED Ed lessons. The same methodology using multimodal methods, but at different levels, you can actually create different question papers using the same multimodal materials. I I would advise you to just go and expose that, explore that, right? Um, and expose that to the class, to the learners.
Sure. Thank you. Ma'am, I really was wondering how, ma'am, as Dr. answers question, is how will ma'am connect creative writing with Viksit Bharat and NEP 2020, because we're talking about multilingualism and giving life to indigenous languages, especially with policies like Adivani, where they're going to uh, uh, make students learn in their own mother tongue language. So, but the way you started right from creating what Richard Bharat, what are the pillars there, and connecting it last with the NEP 2020, I understood what kind of background study you would have done in terms of testing, assessments, curriculum preparation, and all that to deliver a very insightful and mindful session, especially, as you said, many universities are trying to revamp their syllabus, curriculum, and all that. Yes, even we in the process of revamping. So your inputs have really given us ideas, or I would say rather suggestions where we can incorporate ideas related to NEP 2020 and Vision Bharat 2047, how those policies can be incorporated in our syllabus framework. Thank you very much for your ideas, ma'am. Any
Thank
other
you.
questions?
Thank you, Dr. Ramya, for inviting me and making me a part of this FTP. I hope the session mm, is useful to the participants.
Yes, ma'am,
Thank
it
you
is.
all for
No
your
doubt.
patient
Thank you.
listening.
Ma'am, I'll just send you a WhatsApp message now. Can you please come there?
Can I now leave, or do you have?
Wait. No, you wait, ma'am. Wait there.
Oh,
Wait there.
okay. What should I do now?
Just wait. Just wait.
Yeah.
Ma'am, your mic.
I request the participants to kindly turn on your camera. We take a group picture. Madhuri ma'am, you can also be with us for the validity session. It's going to happen right now
Oh,
for
okay.
another 10 to 15 minutes maximum. So our HOD ma'am also will be joining us now. So
Sure, sure.
we'll be honored if you stay with us here for the validity. And can you please stop sharing the screen because people are turning on the camera. I can take a look with them.
Shall I stop sharing?
Yes, ma'am.
Oh, how much time does it take for the valedictory?
Uh, 10 minutes maximum, ma'am.
Okay, then I'll wait.
Yes, ma'am. Participants, kindly turn on your camera. I have very few faces. In the last session, so we expect at least 2 more faces on the screen.
One of the disadvantages of technology that you can't see the faces.
But it was actually created to see faces and not immediately. We have to search for the icons here to turn it on.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Thank you, participants. Please, we'll start with the valedictory session now. Dr. Yansubeni has posted the feedback form for the last session, the 12th session. The dance training now, we can start with the valedictory session. Participants, we request you all to stay tuned. We are starting our valedictory session now. And Dr. Veni Madhavi ma'am, you can stay there. Once our HOD joins, she's trying to log in. Once she joins, yes, we can also turn on the camera, ma'am. Thank you. Dr. Veni ma'am, please.
Okay. Good evening, everyone. Once again, a very warm welcome to each one of you present here today for the valedictory session of our faculty development program. So on behalf of the Department of Language, Culture, and Society, along with Tetso College Department of Linguistics, Sovyoma Dimapur, Nagaland, we extend our heartfelt greetings to our um, everyone present here today, and also to our respected speaker who is present here with us, and also to our HOD and all the resource persons, as well as the participants present here. So it gives me immense pleasure to see this gathering of dedicated, educators, scholars, and professionals who have spent the past 5 days, this is the 6th day, 5 days enriching themselves with knowledge, with dialogue, as well as collaborative learning. So today, as we conclude our session, we gather to celebrate the learning, collaboration, and the growth that we have already shared. So thank you all for joining us again and for being part of this session. Warm welcome once again to each and every one of you present here. I remember, are we going to have our talk by? Okay. Now I request our collaborators, Dr. Wicham, to have the report update us with the report.
All right. Thank you, Dr. Yanchovini, and all other present here. Can you hear me?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. You're audible.
So I am going to give a very quick report about our program, and more details will be coming later on. But since we are getting not very late, but to not spend more time, I'll be very brief in presenting, giving the overview report of this program. So thank you once again, everyone. So for this 6-day faculty development program, we on the 21st, we had an inaugural session where it was we had Dr. Karunes Saxena, Vice Chancellor, Sangam University, as the he delivered the inaugural message. Also, we had Dr. Hawasa L. King, Principal, Techo College, Nagaland, as a special speech. We also had Dr. Kavitha Nair as the who gave a welcome address. With that, we started with the first session in the first day. And in total, we could have 12 sessions. So quickly about the participants, we have a total of 118 participants, which is very good and encouraging to see both seniors and young scholars coming up to attend this program. So if we look at the academic designation of the participants, we have like majority, like 60% is like research scholars. Faculty members, especially assistant professors, 39%, they are like 47 members. Associate professors, we have 5. Professors, we have 2. And some lecturers, independent research scholar, 2. So in total, we have 118 participants. We have like a wide institutional representation from across the country, like SRM, Institute of Science and Technology, which has the largest participants. And also we have like Amrita Biswa, Vidya Pitham, and Osmania University, Nagaland University, Nehu, Techo College, Tezpur, and the Difu Government College, Government First Grade College, Darwat, and so many colleges. So we also have one international presence that is from Eastern University, Sri Lanka. We are so happy to have him in our program. So from across the country, South India, Northeast, and Northeast India, we have like 70% from South India, and like 10% from the like North India, and the Northeast India, we have like 15%. If we look at the thing, participants' demographic representation. So the backgrounds of the background, different all the participants are like from different background, like English literature and linguistics, cultural studies, sociology, humanities and social science, allied health sciences, engineering, etc. Okay, so that is the quick overall report of the participants. We also, if we look at our resource persons, we have like 12 resource persons, and they covered a wide range of topics, ranging from language to literature and indigenous knowledge system. Especially about decolonialization of language thinking, language documentation, revitalization, cultural narratives as a tools for social awareness, IKS, for ecological and educational reform, language capital and urban mobility, pedagogical innovation aligning with NEP 2020 and Viksit Bharat 2047. We, as planned, we are so happy that we could come to this stage, and all this is because of your participants, active participants from like the learners, from the resource persons, and many more. So with this, I would conclude my quick report. Thank you.
Okay,
If I
thank you.
miss anything, I would request Ma'am Ramaya and my colleague Dr. Injuvini to add on. Thank you.
Yeah, sure. Thank you so much, sir, for the very quick and um, detailed update of the session that we had throughout these few days. At this moment, I now request our respected head of the department, language, culture, and society, to say a few words as we end this session.
please.
Hello, can you hear me?
Yes, ma'am.
Yes,
We can
ma'am.
hear
Yes,
you.
yes. Sorry,
Yeah.
thank you.
Thank you very much for waiting. Actually, I just was waiting to park my car, on the side. So, so as we have come to the close of this 6-day faculty development program on narratives of change, reimagining English language and literature as a mirror of cultural and intellectual transformation through NEP, through the lens of NEP 2020 and Viksit Bharat. I would like to take this opportunity to express my heartfelt appreciation, and that's absolutely sincere, my dear listeners, participants, and everybody who has contributed to this 6-day FDP. So it's from the bottom of my heart, appreciation to each and every participant, speaker, and our respected collaborators. So it's been a week. I know that a lot has been discussed. Definitely, our speakers have disseminated a lot of knowledge across the participants. And I hope that some of the participants would have definitely discovered some thread to take their research forward. And that's how I think that will be a great success of this FDP. So the sessions definitely reflected the spirit of NEP 2020, interdisciplinarity, innovation, inclusivity, and reaffirmed faith how English language and literature can serve as catalysts for cultural renewal and progress, intellectual progress. And our collaboration with Department of Linguistics, Tetsuo College, Nagaland, has been truly, I think, collaborative, and we definitely would like to take this ahead, wherein we reinforce more cooperation and collaboration on the research front, especially with the linguistics department, which is undertaking research under the Center for Indigenous Studies at our department. So we look forward to further collaborating with you, thanking the principal, the head of the department, and every faculty member at Tetsuo College. And thank you to Ramya and Jan Subeni for bringing this collaboration together and having a wonderful, set of listeners, at least till the last last session. So I extend my gratitude also to our eminent speakers, each one of them from IIT, from JNU, from FLU, from Jadavpur University, and international institutions, whose insights helped us re-envision pedagogy through lenses of digital humanities, cultural studies, a lot more. So on the whole, I assume, and yes, I personally couldn't be part of every session because we had, different things going on. But I strongly would believe that it has been definitely a transformative experience for quite a few of you. And that is my takeaway from this. So a sincere thanks to the management, leadership of SRM, our patrons as well, advisory board, and the organizing team for their continuous encouragement and support. So as educators, may we continue to rethink our classrooms as spaces that empower learners to question, create, and connect, shaping the Viksit Bharat as we aspire towards a a very prominent, strong India in 2047. So thank you all for being part of this journey of reflection and renewal. Until we meet for the next, another a similar, a very constructive, progressive FTP and conference. From my side, a big thank you to every one of you. Thank you very much.
Thank you, ma'am.
Thank you, ma'am.
Yeah,
Thank you
thank
so
you.
much, ma'am.
Thank you so much, Professor Nair, for your kind words. We are really grateful that we made all these FTP happen all because of your support. So thank you so much to you as well. Uh, yeah, Ramya ma'am, over to you.
Yes. I would like to tell about the oath of thanks as it goes to the procedure. Thank you, Venumadali ma'am, for being with us here after your session. Though we didn't tell you for this extra time. Am I audible?
Yes, ma'am, we can hear you. You're
Okay.
audible. Mm.
Yes. At the outset, I would like to say that this FTP is really unique as I've been telling this for every session, because it brings together things that are rarely combined in a single academic program where we connect NEP 2020, Viksit Bharat 2047, and English language and literature, showing how English studies can contribute to the nation's development. And every angle with which any workshop or FPP can definitely explore. I'm sure it stands out for integrating indigenous knowledge systems, endangered languages, oral traditions, and regional literary voices, modern approaches like AI-driven pedagogy and creative writing for higher order thinking skills. This blend of culture, technology, and pedagogy makes this program, this FDP, academically rich and forward-looking. And the inclusion of Anglophone Kashmiri literature, Northeast youth mobility, migration directives of the Himalayas, and the Indian knowledge systems adds depth and diversity that are uncommon in traditional FDPs on English. Overall, the FDP has given us a very unique experience and as it has broadened the scope of English education, positioning it as a tool for cultural understanding, intellectual growth, and the vision of Viksit Bharat 2047. At the outset, I'd like to thank each and every one of them who have registered, all knowing about the part of FDP all by yourself, or getting it as a word of mouth from your friends, your guides, your faculty advisors, and faculty members who are here. At the outset, thank you wholeheartedly for being part of this FDP and making this a grand success. Yes, so over the past 6 days, we have traveled through an extraordinary landscape of ideas, like opening windows into language, culture, pedagogy, identity, technology, and I also extend my heartfelt gratitude to all the resource persons who enlightened us with their scholarship and insight. The zooanalytic perspectives of Indic cultures, though I have mentioned a few because sir has already mentioned the rest of the topics. There is few which is actually making us wonder zooanalytic perspectives of Indic cultures, how the linguistics Bharat or Viksit Bharat and literature and language revitalization. And today's two sessions, especially on that really requires a special appreciation because it's not the first Venuvati Ram is here, but still. A special appreciation is due to the engaging sessions on curriculum innovation for a multidisciplinary future to leveraging AI in English studies. All those who may not be able to be part, who were not able to be part of that session, Mr. Aditya Soon, corporate person who's into AI and developing all that, and he shared so many tools to us. I'm sure it was really enlightening how English language can play a vital role in AI's development. So it's also giving us a kind of eye-opener for improvising things into our curriculum. And ma'am's session on creative writing for higher order thinking skills, which beautifully connected the literary connectivity with mission to Viksit Bharat 2047. My sincere thanks to our respected leadership from the Chancellor, our Pro-Chancellors, our Vice Chancellor, our Registrar, our Dean, our Chairperson, and to our HOD for their constant encouragement and support, without whom this FDP would not have been possible. I extend a heartfelt gratitude to all the participants and the organizing team, to us, and to all those behind making this for the seamless coordination and making it really wonderful. I thank the ITKM department for giving us a live stream, communications department, and my business scholars who were there helping us with the maximum. A warm word of appreciation goes to all the participants, faculty members from various institutions also. Your presence reaffirmed the shared belief that education is not merely a profession, but a continuous journey of learning and contribution. As we conclude, let us carry forward the insights gained here and transform them into classroom practices. Research, and leadership that will shape the future and vision in NEP 2020 and Viksit Bharat 2047. Till we meet next time, thank you all. Thank you one and all, and very good evening to one and all from Department of Language, Culture and Society, SR Ministry of Science and Technology, and Department of Linguistics, Etso College, Nagaland. Thank you all very much.
Ma'am, group picture.
Yes, can you please all turn on your camera for one last picture from our end? Few more. Cham sir, we request you also to turn on your camera.
Ucham sir.
Yes,
Saying a
yes.
quick or something.
Okay.
I'll take one more. Thank you all very much. Thank you. Later red screen.
Thank you all.
Yeah, thank you,
Thank you.
everyone. Yeah.
Thank you all. Thank you all very much.
Thank you.
Bye.
Yes. The sec. Thank you. Bye. Thank you very much, ma'am, for being there. Okay, ma'am. I end the meet.